Hello, I'm alive. It says I'm live, but I don't know if I am. We'll see if we get anybody in the chat. I'm gonna I'm gonna have a look on YouTube as well, because then I'll be able to see if I'm live. But if you're watching, come on and say hello. Let me see. Oh, yes, I am live. Good, good. Oh, I think there's someone in the chat. Let me have a look. It's Paul. Hello, Paul. How are you? I think it's just me and you. I'm at home today. The reason I'm at home is because there's a power cut in Wallsend and we've got no power at work. So I've just done a podcast interview with Nonika, who I met at Let Women Speak, and I had to do it from here. So just hope it's going to be okay because I've got no microphone or headphones or anything to do. So, Paul, what have you been up to? How's your wife? The weather's cold and miserable. Yeah, it is. It's really cold and wet here as well. I thought, oh, you might hear Ian in the background. He's just sneezing, talking to himself. I don't know if he knows I'm live. Oh, we've got 3 people watching now. Yeah, so it's raining. Yesterday, I saw a yellow van go past with flashing lights. Thought it was the gritter, but I don't think it was. Oh, dear me. So, is anyone else going to chat with me? Are you just here to be nosy? Oh, it's Donna. Hello, Donna. I haven't seen you for ages. In fact, I saw you a few weeks ago down on the fish quay. I was like, oh, there's Donna. And by the time I thought about beeping, I thought, yeah, you'll not be able to see who it is. So I didn't, but it was raining that day as well. But how is Donna? So Donna voted for me in the election. And then we met for the first time at Morpeth, Let Women Speak. What's your views on the BBC being exposed for supporting trans rights? Well, we all knew it, didn't we? We all knew it was going to happen. Well, we all knew that it was happening. Um, Basically, I stopped watching the BBC when they said that there was the hospital full of children with COVID, and I knew it was that wasn't right. So I cancelled my TV license and well, our TV license. Although technically it was only in my name because I had a household before Ian and I never got him added, so it was just in my name. Um, and I cancelled it, and Ian didn't want me to because he was terrified that we're going to get into loads of trouble. But I looked into it and I said I don't really want to watch live TV, so let's not, and let's cancel it. I cancelled it and then I told him, and he was really happy. So I was a bit worried about telling him because I thought he might be upset, but he wasn't. So yeah, but yeah, I know that the BBC has been biased for a long time. And one of the reasons I knew is because when it came to voting during Brexit, I just didn't really know what to do. Um, You cancelled yours 12 years ago. Oh, ahead of the curve. Um, I I think during Brexit, I really wanted to know the other side of it, but there was no information, and I just didn't get any other information other than Remain was the best thing to do. And unfortunately, I did vote Remain, but haven't had an epiphany since then and found other sources of information. I wouldn't, if there was a vote today, I would vote Leave. So Donna's saying, I'm okay struggling with the weather, though hoping we're seeing the death spirals of the BBC. Absolutely, I hope so too. Yeah, I'm hoping so. People are saying that it needs to reform and change. I don't think it can. I think the rot's too deep. It's been going on for too long. It probably should have folded when we found out about Jimmy Savile. And then there's been a number of different scandals since then, hasn't there? You've never had a visit. I'm assuming that you mean off TV licensing, Paul. Not that you're just lonely, you don't have any friends. um, I'm not a visit either. I did get a visit years and years ago, just after I had my first baby, and yeah, that's when I first bought the TV license because I didn't have one, and I was scared at that point, trying to convince Mike to agree to cancel ours. I only watch YouTube now. Just cancel it. Don't tell him. Just cancel it. I don't think like even if you did watch live TV, not that I'm suggesting you do, but even if you did, nobody would know. Like, because when I first cancelled it, I felt quite worried every time I turned on the TV because BBC would come on even though I didn't want to watch it. It was just that that's how the TV worked. Like when you switch it on, it comes on, but I didn't watch it. Um, so yeah, I hope that doesn't mean I get a visit from TV licensing. I heard, but I never. I don't. I don't even put the TV on now. Don't even put it on. Um, other than other than to switch it straight to YouTube. He pays for it. Well, you've got a problem then if you haven't got access to the bank account to cancel the direct debit. You could just write to them and tell them you don't need it though, and then you'll get a refund. Because I think it is like anybody in the household can do that, I would have thought. Yeah. So I was gonna talk about ambiguous loss today because it seems to be coming up a lot, and Uta Hagen seems to really like that idea, and it's coming up a lot in my client work where. So let us explain what ambiguous loss is in case you don't know. Does anybody know what it is? Let us know in the chat, whether you know what it is or whether you don't. Um, so usually when we think of loss and grief and loss, we think of like somebody who we're close to, who dies, and then you go through sort of like a grieving process, and there's various models of the process that you go through when you are going through grief and loss, which include, and I always forget one of them, but it includes like denial and where you just can't believe it, like bargaining, if only I'd done this, if only I'd done that, um, and anger and stuff, and so Donna's saying never heard of it. Right, okay. So it's probably because you don't work in mental health, which is why. But I think even if you work in mental health, it's quite a term that isn't well known. So um but yeah, so usually when someone dies, you have a funeral and you kind of expect that someone's going to be upset, for like intensely upset at first, and then they're going to feel better. But then people might be scared to mention the person who's died because they don't want to upset you, but then that might upset you because they haven't acknowledged that person, even when it's appropriate to, and stuff like that. So I think we're all quite familiar with the idea of grief and the idea of loss when someone's died. But ambiguous loss is when, in terms of when you lose something out of your life, like, but it's still there. So, for example, in like, say, a trans widow or a parent of a child who says they're trans, they are going through loss. A trans widow would lose their husband. They might lose their sense of, how they viewed the past and how the relationship's always been. So, like, was it always a lie? Did he ever really love me? That kind of questions she might ask. She's also lost the future that she imagined that she was going to have. And she's lost the husband who now says he's a woman. He's not the same person that she perceived him to be. Now, whether he's actually different, or whether he's just different in her perception is debatable. And I suppose different situations can be different. But also, if someone has a trans child, like say your daughter started taking testosterone, she still lives with you. She started taking testosterone and her voice has changed. And you're never going to hear her voice ever again. That's ambiguous loss. But in these situations, you've also got society telling you that they are stunning and brave and great, and you're a transphobe if you are upset about it. Dementia means they're physically there, but not as a person, absolutely. So that's like a kind of loss as well. So the person's still there, but they don't know who you are, and you don't recognize them because they can't speak anymore. Yeah, so that's another situation. Or if you are, I mean, like at the end of relationships is kind of, I wouldn't say that's it can be ambiguous loss. It depends if society recognizes it as a loss and will treat you as someone who's grieving. Um, and I think it's a really powerful idea, because without it, can you hear that? Ian's flipping knows I'm working from home and he's put the bloody washing machine on and gone out. Um, I think it's really important because it gives words to an experience that you're going through. And like, I think everybody who's chatting to me knows what's happened in my life. And that was definitely an ambiguous loss. And I couldn't explain to anybody what had happened because they just didn't get it. They thought I could fix it, and I couldn't, because if I tried to fix it, I would have just invited more abuse into my life. Um, so I'm stuck between trying to fix it and being abused and having more trauma, or having the trauma of not having people who are important to me in my life. So, but society doesn't understand, because I think the narrative in society is that if you don't have contact with your family, then you must have done something terrible. It must be your fault. Um, and I don't necessarily think that's the case, I don't even really blame me family for the situation. I mean, I think Ian probably would, but I try not to because um I think everyone's he's gonna laugh at when he hears me say this, but everyone's like human, and it's because of their way of trying to cope with something that they can't cope with is why they're behaving like that. And if they were able to behave better, then they probably would, but they can't. They haven't got the capacity um to be able to do that. So, and it's pointless staying angry with them for something that they haven't got the capacity to change. So that's kind of how I see it. But um, so yeah, I think the term ambiguous loss is quite powerful in being able to say what's happened. And I think even like with trans widow, if she tells everybody she comes into contact with, like, oh yeah, my husband thinks he's a woman and he's transitioned and all of this, and explains that side of it, then um they're not going to be probably they're going to get some people who aren't supportive, but they could still talk about it in a way that is that society could acknowledge, like all of society could acknowledge, i.e., I've split up with my husband, I'm going through a divorce. That's like it's not that it's an easy thing to say, but it has a label. Whereas what happened to me didn't have a label. And I suspect that for many people who have a family member who are trans, they don't have a label either because they're just being called bigoted and transphobic and all this stuff. So what I'm trying to do on my channel, I don't know if you've seen me videos promoting me counselling service, but I'm really talking about ambiguous loss and how counselling can help with it. I'm not getting loads of views on those videos though. I am getting more views on the shorts that come from those videos. So I'm like in two minds about whether to keep doing them. But remarketing is starting to work and I am getting women through so I had one woman who came through, she watched the interview with Joy, cried her eyes out all the way through, but didn't know that like everything that Joy said happened to her as well, but she didn't know she was a trans widow. She didn't have that word. Um, so I'm connecting with people uh, who who um who are who have that need. So Donna's saying some things just can't be fixed no matter how much you'd want to, but can be absolutely heartbreaking. Absolutely. But when when I when you try and explain to people who don't know anything about it, they just don't get it. Excuse me, I'm a bit blocked up. Like last week on me, I did a podcast interview, and then I did a live straight after. And as I did, as I was talking, I got more blocked up, and I've been blocked up ever since. And I suspect it's because the back door was open, and there was a load of dust came into the building. So it's getting better because I don't think I've got a cold. I'm just blocked up. So I think the dust's really um aggravating me sinuses and what have you. So yes, I've been making those videos and the term ambiguous loss was new to Uta Hagen and she did a live stream last night with Irene Britt USA, who has a channel with a lot more subscribers and she got a lot more views than I'm getting. And Uta was promoting what I do and she was talking about ambiguous loss and saying that she'd heard it from me. She hadn't heard of it before, and she'll just keep telling me how powerful it is to hear that term and have that explained. So when you have an ambiguous loss, there's no funeral because someone isn't dead. There's no rituals. There's no, but it can be a situation that tears your life apart, has loads of traumatic elements to it, and then you don't have the words to be able to tell people what's happened. And if you do, they might judge you. Like if someone dies, and like most of the time, if someone dies in your life, nobody thinks that you've killed them. I don't think I've met anybody who's been responsible for someone else's death before. I might have, but not to my knowledge. So most of the time when someone dies, it's not because someone's at fault. It's just like something that happens. Whereas in loss, and I've heard trans widows say this a lot, people actually say to them, "What did you do to make him want to be a woman?" As if it's the woman's fault, which is just absolutely disgusting. It's so disgusting to say that to someone. And were you not womanly enough, or were you not adventurous enough in the bedroom? So you've split up, and if you are just a bit more adventurous and accepting, then you could have kept your marriage together. But why should anyone accept that behaviour? Because I wouldn't, and I don't think women should. So I think it's quite important. So yeah, so I was so grateful to Uta last night because she kept mentioning me, and I did set a notification for for when it streamed that I would be able to join. But I was sitting watching the screen for ages and it didn't play. And then I realised I'd missed the start. So then I was playing catch up and I was trying to play it at double speed, but it was on my TV and I couldn't work out how to do it. And then my TV broke because I don't know if it's that TV or what, but we have all sorts of problems with it just cutting out and not working. And Ian doesn't want to buy a new one because he thinks it's still working, just it's not working properly. So he doesn't want to buy a new one because that's a waste. And then that one might do it as well. So anyway, it cut out, and then I started watching it on my phone, managed to catch up, and she mentioned us quite a few times, and that video has got nearly 1,000 views, and I was in the chat, um, talking to people as well. So there was quite a few detransitioners in the chat as well, and I am working with a detransitioner as well, and it's quite slow progress. Sometimes people just don't want to open up. It takes a lot for them to talk, and I'm quite conscious that I don't want to waste the session. But if they aren't able to open up yet, then it's quite challenging. So obviously, I have to keep me clients confidential. So I don't want to mention who they are too much, and um, but I think it's important to talk about the fact that I am helping people because that'll help other people know that I can help them as well. Oh, hi, Cherry. How are you? So I was just talking about ambiguous loss, which is when um you lose something, like your husband who transitions, and you you don't get acknowledgement from society. It feels like the woman's fault. So, Cherry, would you like to share a little bit about your situation and let me know if you don't want to and I won't, but um how awful. I wouldn't accept a TIM as my partner either. I can't imagine the shock a woman goes through when their husband or partner does this. Yeah, And of course, it's for parents as well because can you imagine your children you've brought up all their life and they're now a teenager and going through all that rebellious stuff and then they say that they're trans and if you don't let them have puberty blockers, they're gonna yes, Cherry, a TIM, a TIM is a trans identified man. So it's a man who says he's a woman. So it's an alternative way of saying trans woman without using their language. Um, so yeah, and then you've got the only professionals who are around because a lot of counsellors uh won't touch this with a barge pole because it's risky. If you get someone who's trans and you misgender them, that could be career suicide. Um, so yeah, uh, so then you've got the choice of risking losing your child, and I do know some women who've lost their children because they didn't go along with this, or they have to keep quiet in their own home, or they have to risk going along with it. So that is it's quite terrible. Imagine being in that situation, and that's pretty much the kind of dilemma that I had with my children. I had to decide whether to put up with more of the same kind of behaviour that was intolerable to me or lose them. And it's a really difficult decision. Yeah, having a trans child must be devastating. See, I won't even say having a trans child, I'll say having a child who says they're trans or who thinks they are. And it really upsets them when you say stuff like that. So the thing is, as well, for a lot of trans widows, like Uta, for example, they end up losing their children as well because the society's telling them that their father's stunning and brave. Oh, stunning and Dave, as Kelly J says. I've lost count of the number of women at Let Women Speak who've lost contact with their children over the trans issue. Absolutely, and that's basically what happened to me. It wasn't trans, but it was same playbook that undermined me as a mother. Um, and that's kind of why I got involved in this. So yeah, I thought I would come on and share that today because I don't often share my own story and my own what I've been through and why I came to this. Like I share other stuff more regularly, which is a little bit less emotionally difficult. Um, but I do think it's important that people know that I get it on a really deep personal level, and that's like I couldn't talk about that to anybody really. I kept it. I avoided saying stuff, and I was very creative in how I answered questions. Like I became very creative because over the years I just found that other ways of speaking about it just made it very socially awkward uh, for people who were asking awkward questions. Um, and once I heard about what was happening, I was like, oh my God, I'm not the only person who this is happening to. This is like systematic breaking up of families, and it's absolutely disgusting. So, yeah. So, did anyone who is in the chat see the interview with Janet this week? And if you did, what did you think of that? I thought it was a really good conversation, but it hasn't had many views. It's had about 120 or something, which I'm a little bit disappointed about, to be honest. I would like it to get more views. Um, so yeah, if you're happy to share it anywhere, I'd be pleased if you could help me by sharing it. Thank you. Um, I'm saying thank you before you've even done anything. That's a bit presumptuous of me, isn't it? Um, yeah, but poor Janet. So Janet was she made a video. She's a marketing consultant. She made a video saying that she'd seen a video saying that it was about women's health, and it said pregnant people in it. And she made a video saying that's going to repel some people and it's going to attract other people, and it would repel me. I don't like that. It made me turn it off, and she got cancelled for it. Oh, Donna's saying she hasn't watched it yet, but it's on her list to watch. Excellent, thank you. Um, so yeah, so she was well and truly cancelled. Two people with a big platform made a video about her. She was gonna drop it, but they went after her Instagram page, and she had 13,000 followers on her Instagram. And as she was going through a cancer diagnosis, they had her page taken down. I just, and these people who do these terrible things and then they can't back down. So she was gonna let it lie, but she's taken legal. Taken legal. She's gonna take it forward, and she's writing a book called "Please Don't Share My Name," with all the comments that she got when she was cancelled of other women who don't feel like they can speak because of something that's happened to them. And the message, yeah, she got loads of messages in her inbox. And yeah, so I met Janet because she was cancelled. And there's a woman who's in business who is local to me, who I've known since I started my business, like over 10 years ago. And she had worked with Janet in the past and knew what I was up to with the election and stuff. So I'd had a few conversations with her about the issues, and then she saw that Janet was being cancelled and why, and she connected us. And I was on my way to, I think it was Aberdeen. Um, Good for her. Yeah, absolutely. But it's a bit much. She hasn't been able to make any money this year. So if you need a planner, she's got these women's rights planners. They're great. If you use that sort of thing, I got one last year for no, it was for this year, and it's an A4 planner, and it's got like significant dates and stuff. So if you find that useful, Donna, I suspect you might find that useful. Look her up, Janet Murray, um, and you can help her by getting a planner. Um, and you can also donate to her. She's got a buy me a coffee link, which I've put in the description now, and that's so that she can make a start on this book because she's income's dropped. She built a £500,000 business on this planner in the past, so she's been really successful. But now she hasn't been able to sell as many this year because she's been cancelled so badly. And some little dickhead went on one of my posts where I was sharing a clip and said, that's karma for being a transphobe. And I was like, so I swore. And then I went back and thought, no, I better not swear at him. So I changed the message, but I just said, "Why do you support child abuse?" Because that's what it is, isn't it? So, so after last week I was saying that I wasn't sure if I was gonna complain. I've decided I'm going to, because why not? I've got nothing to lose, and I've got a husband who really enjoys complaining. He's quite vindictive when we've been wronged, and he's spoiling for a fight. He hasn't had to write a complaint for a long time, but he does deal with any complaints that we get through the business, which are often, do you know what? Everybody hates care providers. The staff hate us. Social workers are very keen to blame us. The NHS like to pass the buck. Um, like it just the government hate us. The families of our clients, they're never happy. It's just horrific. Transphobe, no such thing. It terrifies me. What is it that terrifies you? Being called a transphobe, I don't even care anymore. Um, Top lad, your husband. Well, I think so. Oh, by the way, it's our anniversary today. It's 21 years today since our first date, where he bought some champagne. And oh God, let me tell you this story. It's so embarrassing. Right, so I was telling this version of the story for about 18 years. So on our date, and oh sorry, Donna's saying I follow Donna on Facebook and X. Yeah, make sure you support her because she's really struggling. Um, so we went to the bar, and he came back and he was going on about them, saying, Would you like rain chilled Tattinger, sir?" He came back with Tattinger, and for years afterwards, I was saying that that's what had happened. They'd asked him if he wanted rain chilled Tattinger. And every time I told the story, he used to roll his eyes, but he wouldn't tell us why. Even when I probed, like, "Why are you pulling a face at me?" And then eventually, a few years ago, he confessed and he said that they hadn't said that to him at the bar. He was talking about his favourite film, Casino Royale. Like as if they'd ask if you wanted rain chilled Tattinger in Newcastle. But anyway, I was rather stressed that night. So yeah, we had chilled Tattinger, but it wasn't chilled by rain on our first date. And I couldn't drink any of it because my stomach was in turmoil. So I think he drank most of it. But yes, 21 years ago. So a lot has happened since then. Um, but yeah, I do kind of believe that it was when me and Ian came together, it kind of triggered a load of the disasters that we had soon after, like the year. So we actually moved in together at the end of, so we met and got together in 2004, and then it wasn't until 2008 till he moved in with me, and then we moved into a house together in 2009. So he moved in with me while we were looking for somewhere to move to. In May 2009 we moved here, and then in 2011, 2012, that's when it all kicked off, like with my family. And then he was like persecuted at work, which ended up in an employment tribunal, just like everything just kind of collapsed. But I was talking about ambiguous loss before. Things end for a good reason. When things are ending, even when you feel like it's not a positive thing, something's ending so that you can put something that's better for you into your life. So when a relationship ends, you might not want it to end, but if it wasn't ending, if then no, let me think about this because I'm gonna say it the wrong way. Like it's ending for a reason. It's ending because it's not right for you, even if you don't understand or know that that's the case. It's ending because it's not a good fit. So it ends so that you can find what's right for you. And so I was in a relationship that ended, and then I met Ian, and that was a new beginning. And whilst the end of my first marriage was really painful and messy and very acrimonious, not for the want of me trying to keep the peace and try and make things amicable. Um, not for the want of me trying. But it was meant to happen because now I've got a much better relationship, which is a lot stronger. And yeah, Ian backs me up and fights me corner, and he listens to me when I'm upset and when things aren't going the way that I want them to. And even if it's about like he sometimes takes things personally, but usually I do manage to tell him, even if it's something that's like he's gonna take in the wrong way or whatever. We'll manage to talk it through, and he accepts how I feel, even if he doesn't agree, which doesn't happen in all relationships, does it? So yeah, congratulations, he's done it, and you're laughing. I'm thinking that you're laughing at the champagne story. Yeah, it is quite funny. I told everyone who would listen, and nobody said no, that didn't happen. Nobody didn't believe me. Everybody believed me. It was so funny though that he'd roll his eyes at me. But yes. So yeah, when your relationship ends, it's quite I think everybody knows what it feels like for a relationship to end when it's a romantic relationship, but when it's like your family member, I don't think people have the same idea about what's going on, because what they do is they look at how their relationship is. I even had people saying to me, "Oh, well, my so and so's so close to my so and so. I can't imagine how that happens." But just because your relationship works with your family, even if it's dysfunctional, it'll work. Most people's family works too. Even if it's dysfunctional, it works and it's supportive enough. But mine just isn't. And lots of people are like that, but they're just, because they're comparing it to their own relationships, they just don't understand. And society has all these myths. Like, one of the things that I really had to work through was, and I still actually believe this, that they're the ones who are supposed to bring up children. They're the ones who are supposed to nurture children. They're the ones who, it's like the most important relationship. And yes, dads are important. I'm not saying they're not, but the mother bond is just so fundamental. And I had to do a lot of work to manage to come through that. That is still the case, but Um, the relationships that I have on don't look like that. They don't look like I'm the most important person as a mother, and as a daughter, actually. So, yeah, lots of work to do. But it was counselling and personal development that enabled me to work through that and enabled me to step away from essentially absolutely horrific emotional abuse. Um, it helped me to do that. And I am working with a number of women at the moment who also have that sort of dynamic going on, and they don't necessarily, they possibly won't have the same outcome as me. I hope to God they don't have the same outcome as me, because it was like probably the most catastrophic um outcome that it could be. Um, but some of them, that might be the case. It might work out the same, but the skill in the counselling room is to acknowledge that you have pain, you've been through stuff, but you've worked through it enough to be able to support other people whose situations are different. The feelings might be the same, but um, in terms of grieving or joy or anger or whatever other emotion comes up, um, being able to separate what's happened to you and work with those people on that level of where they are, not where you have been, even though that experience that you've had or that I've had is shaping my work. But it's, you have to separate it enough to be able to work with that person and not let your own stuff get in the way. So yes, it's quite deep, this life, isn't it? I am quite a deep person. I've tried to become a bit more superficial in recent years because it can be a bit intense being my friend. um, so yeah, and I think I have managed to build up a bit of, I can talk about the weather now and see the point of it. Like 10 years ago, maybe a bit longer than that. Maybe it's 15 years ago, I couldn't see the point of small talk. I didn't like talking about the weather. I worked in the shop as well for a bit, and like honestly, I just had customer after customer after customer coming in and talking about the weather, and I was just like, "Do I have to hear that it's raining one more time?" Oh dear me. What else has been going on in art? So going back to what Uta and Irene were talking about, they were talking about this Gold's Gym. Um, but a lot of what they were talking about was Uta's experience in relation to trans. And to be honest, I haven't really followed the story, which is really bad. But it's really hard because I've got so much to do. Like I'm running multiple businesses, um, and I've I'm creating loads of content, doing interviews, and like client work and putting out content and trying to rest. And I was going to say exercise, but I'm not doing any of that at the minute. I need to, but I've got no motivation. Um, and trying to eat and sleep and keep myself well as well. So it's I found it quite overwhelming at times. Um, and in business, there's always problems. The bigger the business, the bigger the problems. And um, when I interviewed Kelly J, we were talking a lot about envy, and I really don't think I feel envy very much. I try and judge myself, like compete with myself. Like, am I doing better than I have been? Like, for the path that I'm on, am I on the right path? Don't look at someone else and go, oh, they've got blah in their business and I haven't. It's because I haven't took that route and I could take that route. And she was mentioning, excuse me, she was mentioning that I've got loads of staff, and yes, we've got about 80 staff. But you know what? Do you know what 80 staff means? 80 headaches. Not really, we need them and they're great. But there are a lot of problems. Thankfully, I don't have to manage them because I think I'd be really rubbish at that. Because I haven't developed that skill of telling people off without losing me shit. Like, if I'm gonna be upset with someone, uh, yeah. Hi from Pakistan. I'm moving to the UK soon. Hello. So, yeah, so uh, we have, we've got an induction this week for our training, so our care service. So we've got, I'm not sure how many, maybe 8 to 10 usually, um, people on our induction, male and female. We've got mainly people from Nigeria applying for jobs with us at the moment. Um, and I know there's a lot of talk about immigration, but I'm not totally against immigration, but I do have a problem with illegal immigration, particularly as people who come here legally, they have to jump through all these hoops and it's quite expensive. And yeah, so people have concerns around the number of immigrants. And it was just in the last few years that they opened up um, work visas for care, and we've had a shortage of people who want to work in care for quite a long time, which they made absolutely even worse by pushing mandatory vaccines on people. And um, but what I find with the Nigerian staff that we've got, and I'm gonna say these things as a generalization, but actually I'm not talking about everyone because people are individuals and everyone's different. However, generalization, a lot of people who are from this country, they just don't want to work. They don't want to come to work, constantly running in sick. And people from different cultures don't do that. They're keen to work. And so it's been really good having the opportunity of being able to employ staff who are keen to work. And there's challenges that come with that as well, like keeping on the right side of immigration law. And I know that the immigration of in the care sector has been massively abused, but we have been really trying hard to not do that. We genuinely need staff, and that's the reason that we've got some visas to be able to do that. but they don't have make it hard for us. They make it really, really hard. And I'm not going to go into details because a lot of it is confidential. But yeah, the gym guy's taking his ex-wife's name, same ex-wife that he physically abused. Oh yes, because he broke her jaw, didn't he? And Paul's removed the person in the chat. So yes, so user QD3TKI whatever. Would you like to say hello? Because I don't think we've met. Are you new to the channel or um yeah. I wasn't sure if he was here to ask us for advice on how to come over or what. But yeah, you do get them. We'll get people sending messages about employing them from overseas all the time. But we only employ people who are already here. And there is a local university how they're coming. I'm new, my name is Charles. Hello, Charles. So my channel's about women's rights, but we do like men on here as well. I'm not anti-men. It's just focused on women's rights because women's rights are under siege at the moment by men with a special identity. Um, so that's a lot of what we talk about here is about that. So yeah, so what else has happened this week? The Darlington Nurses Tribunal has finished, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the end of the tribunal. I'm glad to hear you support women's rights. Um, I wasn't able to attend the end of the tribunal because I was working. I actually had paying customers that day, several of them, and we had to have a finance meeting. Because we have to keep a close eye on what's coming in, what's going out, making sure we've got enough money in the bank and that we're doing okay. And so I couldn't go to the tribunal. Mondays and Tuesdays I tend to keep free for the care business, but I do have like the odd occasion where clients want an appointment, and that's usually fine. I ended up with two, and then one of them didn't turn up, so that was a challenge. But I'm coming to the end of my supervision course, and so I've done me client work for it, and now I just need to do the last bit of work for it and then hand it in, and then I'll be getting me supervision certificate, and then I'll be able to I'll be fully fledged supervisor, and I can. So every counsellor has a supervisor who helps them with difficult situations when they come up with clients. So I will be taking more uh, counsellors on to supervise them. When my wife was in a care home, they used agency staff, and many of them were male immigrants. Caused no end of problems, not least because they were men. We do get a lot more men coming through from Nigeria. I think it's possibly the culture. More men from Nigeria go to work, maybe, so I don't know. But we only send the men to men and for calls that are not personal care. So you have a good career going. Well done. I'm retired now, so that's all behind me. Yeah, well, it hasn't all been plain sailing. I set up the care business with absolutely no investment, no resources, and it was an absolute challenge. And by rights, I probably shouldn't be here. I probably should have fell on my face and went bust, but so far we haven't, so I'm pleased. Um, and it's a difficult business to run. Um, we don't have enough female drivers, and because it's domiciliary, so that means it's community, so it's house to house. Uh, it's not easy to run without drivers, but obviously the petrol is through the roof, wear and tear on the car and stuff like that. And we're basically the local authority tell us what they're going to pay us, so we can't raise our prices. So it's we're not rolling money. Everyone thinks I'm rich because I run a care company, and I'm absolutely not. Most people I would have thought who make money, who run care businesses, have already made their money somewhere else, and I haven't. I was a teenage parent. I was a single mother twice, and I have never been rich, and I'm still not. So, in fact, I could probably earn more now if I got a job, but I don't want to get a job because I'm too gobby and I'd get sacked. So, right, well, I've been talking for an hour, over an hour. Do you want us to keep going or shall I wind it up? Have I got anything else to talk about? It's a shame Uta hasn't popped in. She usually pops in to say hello, but she hasn't today. And we haven't had Annie in the chat either. And we haven't got Ian in the chat either. He's usually listening in the kitchen while I'm at work, but today I'm at home because of a power cut. And Ian's gone out for a walk, so he's not listening to me. But if he listens to it back, he'll be laughing at all the things I said. Oh, so it's Friday, and I'm glad that I'm in the house because it's raining. Just looking out the window. But yeah, so the majority of my time though is spent on counselling and creating content for the podcast. So I just spend like a bit of time running the other business. Um, but I'm on site all the time. So if something comes up, I'm there. Waited for a live and the phone rings. We'll have to rewatch later. Oh, bless you, Cherry. Well, you could always not answer the phone, because my life's much more important. Only joking. Um, so yeah, so hopefully let me check my diary and see what I'm doing next week to see if I can come on. I usually can. Um, yeah, I've got a nail appointment next week, but I will be coming live again next week at 2 o'clock, hopefully. So next time I will. Yeah, and I think this is smiley faces, but it's come up like that. So that's funny. What's the picture behind you? Well, it's actually she wants to get. Oh, let me see. Yeah, it's a replica of a famous painting of an opera house, inside an opera house. It's very detailed. When you get up close, you can see their faces and everything. And Ian got it from Tynemouth Market, which is like a flea market that's been going for years locally. And it was about 90 quid or something. So it was a bargain given the amount of work that's gone into it. It's like hand painted. And he had gone off. Excellent, Donna. He had gone off to Tynemouth Market on his own and he rang us and he said, "Can you come and pick us up?" And I was like, "Okay." So I went to pick him up, and it turned out that I couldn't fit in the car because once he got that in, because it was so big, he had to put the seats down. So he drove home, like with his knees up to his chest in my car and left us there. Charming, eh? Then he had to come and pick us up. But yes, I will, yes. So I'm gonna stop. Ian's back. I'm gonna stop and because I've got some emails and I need to sort them out. And if I don't see you before, I'll see you next week. See you later.